Hello everybody. Today you're going to learn how to add and edit fields in your SuiteCRM modules, as well as which kind of fields to use in which cases. My name is Bastian Hammer, your go-to expert when it comes to all things CRM, e-commerce, marketing automation, and sales integration. So let's go. So I assume that you've got SuiteCRM installed already, and maybe you've added a couple of test records. You figured out it's kind of working, but it looks like it doesn't really fit your processes and your data that you have in your company. Fortunately, SuiteCRM provides you with a feature that you can easily add and edit fields and adjust it so that your data structure will fit your processes and fit your requirements inside your company. Now, let's look into 4 different fields, when to use them and how to add and edit them. And as an example, let's just use the leads module. So first, I'm going into the leads module and I click on new, that you see how it would look like to create another lead. So let's assume as well that you maybe have like a web form, and if somebody fills out this web form, the data from the web form goes directly into your CRM system and will be displayed here. So therefore you can add another field here in the CRM system, which you expose on the web form, and then people can answer questions that is very important for you later on for segmenting your leads. So let's give it a first try and add a simple text field. In order to do that, I'm just going to the admin. I'm opening it in a new tab, and now I'm hitting the studio. So the studio is something where you can configure your CRM system, all the modules and views and stuff according to your needs. So here I'm searching for the leads. I open the layouts, and as you can see, there's an edit view, a detail view, list view, and they are the fields. So let's first go to the fields, and as you can see, they are all the fields that, I switch back to the lead module, department, account name, primary address, street, and so on. So department, and you've got like street and so on. So the fields that are available inside the lead module are here as well. Now let's just assume you've got like a question that is very important for starting your sales process. And the question would simply be, what kind of software are you using? So, and therefore I use a standard text field. So I click on add the text field, and I would simply add like a field name. What kind of software? So, and here it's important, the field name, it's usually not being seen later on by normal users. It's just something, how stuff is being stored in the database. And here it's very important. The field name, I would always do it lowercase, and there shouldn't be any spaces or special characters inside. And the display label, it will be automatically generated for you here. So what kind of software? And now we need to make it sound like for humans actually. Are you using? So this is how I want to have the label being displayed on my CRM system. Now I can add a help text, comment, and so on. We'll go into details later on about this, or like in a specific workshop, dedicated workshop. So here we've got a text field, and the text field comes with a maximum size. That is indeed a limitation of the database. So 255 characters is the maximum length that you can use on a text field. There's a text area, just in case you need like longer description of something, then you would use a text area. Here, just a text field. When to use this text field? If you have something like open-ended but short in information, so you want to have like a quick answer, like a quick something like piece of content or an answer, or like an information about your lead, which is not very long. And very important, you don't need to segment on this because it has a couple of disadvantages. So here, if you have this text field, the problem is simply with the text field, you can't segment, like I want to have it from to, I want to have like these kind of answers collected in one, in one group or something. So now I would simply add this text field. So I'm searching for software. That's the field that I just added. And I need to drag and drop it into my new row that I just created here. Then I want to save and deploy. And then we're checking here inside the edit view. And as you can see what kind of software I'm using, now I can write something like ERP system. I've got this one already, and CRM is in place as well, but now we're looking for marketing automation, for instance. So far for the text field. So the next thing is we've got industry. Nope. We got lead source. There. So we've got a lead source, which is a select field. So in the select field has a big advantage over a text field is you can group it. So later on you want to have, for instance, all leads that are being generated from through employees, because you had like one campaign inside your company and employees generated those leads by word of mouth or something specifically from employees or existing customer or cold call or something. So therefore you can use this as a segment, or you can use it in reports later on. But what if you're lacking something? Maybe what's lacking here is simply your marketing automation, or e-commerce system works as well. How to do this? I would go back to fields and then search for source, lead source. And as you can see, this is a drop down here. That's correct. We know this already. And here is like a list of values behind the whole thing. And if I want to add some details, I would simply click on edit. So now I can add the list here. And important again, so we've got an item name. Let's simply call it e-commerce. And here ideally it would be no spaces, no special character, and display label, it can be anything that you want. So e-commerce, you can write it with a dash, for instance. And then I add this here and I save it. And now I have to save this field as well. Okay. And now I refresh my list here, or my edit view of the lead. And I see whether I can select e-commerce now. And indeed, I can select it. So if you're working on adjusting your CRM system, try to stick to the standard. If you have something like the lead source already, why not just use it, extend it according to your needs? So therefore, it makes it way easier later on if you have like a new developer or like somebody who's helping with the customization. They don't need to figure out, like, is there yet another lead source? Are there two different? So in one project, for instance, I had like two different lead sources, which was very confusing because there was a custom lead source and the standard lead source. Some of the data was overlapping, but overall, it could have been easier just to use the lead source which exists already. Okay, let's go to the next one. If you want to do lead scoring, for instance, and you might be asking on your web form, like, what's your budget? And then you might be very strict and use a number. You can use a currency field, which is adding some details, and it has like a conversion option as well. Or you can make it easy and use a number field, which is an integer. So there are basically two. Float is with a comma inside, integer is without a comma inside, to make it very easy. And then in order to make it very easy, on the website now, on the web form, we would just allow numbers, nothing else, no comma, no decimal separators or something. And I would call this budget. It automatically generates here my display label, budget. And now I can add some validation criteria as well. So like a negative budget is not possible. At the same time, I don't want to have any request that we have to be working on less than, let's say, 50 euro. And the maximum value should stay open because the request for higher values would be totally fine with us. Then I save this again. And just like with the first field, I can close this one, go to my edit view, and I will add this here now. So I search for the budget, and I add this here, and I save and deploy it. And if I refresh this here, then I have to enter a last name. Now I want to demonstrate what happens if I do like 5.2. See, you can't even enter it. 5.2, that works, but the comma doesn't work in the first place already. But you see there's some validation already going on, so that's quite good. Therefore, if you want to be very strict, you can use this. It's always very, very good for the developers, for the data architecture. It's not that great for users because they have to adjust to how you want them to insert data into your system. Big advantage is here, you can use this for lead segmentation, for lead scoring, and for reports very, very easily. Additionally, you can use this for workflows if you want to automate stuff in the background. So this is these kind of fields like Dropdown-Fields, and with integer fields or numbers, decimal values works as well. You want to use those in order to have very clean and structured data. So now there's another thing which I just want to show, which exists already in the CRM by default. So we've got cases, for instance. One module with cases. So somebody is complaining about something, somebody has a problem and needs to have an answer. So your support would be working on the case module. And if they receive a new phone call, they might be clicking on new here. And then they would start working on this one. Usually it starts with a state as open. And then in the open state, it could have several different status values. So new, of course, if somebody didn't start working, so it just came in, we haven't started investigating yet. Assigned, so I found the right person for this issue and I assigned it already. And pending input from the customer. So let's say the case has been moved forward already and now it's about to be closed. So I switch it here to closed. And as you can see, the values here are changing. Closed, close, that's probably the standard. Rejected, it's not about our software or our product that something is going wrong. So therefore I would just reject it or duplicate. So this is a dynamic drop-down, or like it's depending on each other. Let's just check how they build this here. So if you go into the module cases and you see the fields, and then we'll see the first one is state, the second one is status. So we've got a parent-child relationship. The first one is state. Let's look into those values. Here we've got open, closed. Default value is open. That seems to be all good. And if I close this one here again, I've got the status. And as you can see, the field type here is a dynamic drop-down. So if I go into the status, you can see all the values that we have seen before. Additionally, let me close this one here again, you've got a parent drop-down. So you would need to enter the field name of the parent drop-down, and then SuiteCRM knows which both to relate, but now it still needs to figure out like when to show what value. And as you can see here, it's always separated by like the name of the value of the state, underscore, and then your value here. And then the display label can be like anything you want again. So therefore, that's quite clean. This is how you can build up like a hierarchy of data. So you can only select this one when you do that one. Some projects where I've used this was, for instance, with for industries. So if you have like an industry and you want to have like a specific sub-industry or like a group that you want to subgroup again, and then you would be working with those dynamic drop-downs to make the data really clean. Again, This one is very good for lead segmentation. This one is very good for building reports, for working with workflows on top of it. Therefore, text fields, text areas, everything which is unstructured, use it sparingly, even though it's very easy for your users. And everything this is being structured, you can use it and improve your data quality and the options that you're giving yourself inside the CRM system when you're expanding, when you're growing, when you're building your CRM system later on. Okay, a quick recap. So you've learned how to add a new field, how to edit a field, and when to use which kind of fields. You've seen a couple of different fields here, but as you can see, there are way more. If you want to go in depth, if you really want to get your data architecture right, then check out my website and my complete SuiteCRM administration workshop course. And we'll go into the depth of all different kinds of data models, and how to build things so that they just work and help you keep growing with your CRM system and your business. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.